Corn School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Headline Amp Fungicide and Pride Seeds.
Bernard Tobin here at SWAC, the Southwest Ag Conference, joined again by Kirsten Wise, a plant pathologist from the University of Kentucky. Thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you.
I want to talk about northern corn leaf blight for a second. It's a disease that we've dealt with in Ontario and for years and years and years. You're seeing something a little different, kind of a lot like northern corn leaf blight, a disease called Diplodia leaf streak down in your neck of the woods. Tell me what you found.
Right, so this is a disease that it's not new to the U.S., but it is re-emerging in the United States, particularly in the southern states and mid-south. But what's concerning to us is that we're now starting to see it more in the Midwest. And the problem is that it looks very similar to northern corn leaf blight. They're very hard to identify in the field.
How do you tell the difference?
So you really have to use a hand lens or send a sample to be looked at under a microscope to tell the difference in some cases. We can sometimes tell based on climate. You know, if it's a little cooler, you might see more northern. If it's warmer, you might see more Diplodia leaf streak. But otherwise, we're just looking at the signs of the fungus or some of the fungal structures within those lesions to tell them apart. And that can be very difficult to do.
Is there a distinct difference that you can see under the microscope?
Yes, so with Diplodia leaf streak, in those lesions, there'll be round fungal structures that will look sort of like pepper scattered on the leaf surface. With northern, you'll see sort of masses of fuzzy spores. But again, this is only going to be distinguishable with if you have really good eyes, or maybe a hand lens or a microscope.
So we'll have to employ someone like you to distinguish it. Talk about the impact. I mean, we know northern leaf, similar or?
So what was interesting is that if you look at Diplodia leaf streak in the past, they've said it doesn't cause yield loss. But it also is confined to the very southern part of the U.S. Now we're seeing it expand into the mid-south and Midwest, and there are farmers who think they're seeing yield loss from this disease. So that has us concerned, and it makes us really need to do more research to learn more about it.
Why the movement? You said it's been around, but now it's moving.
Well, the organisms that cause disease, you know, they like to throw us some curveballs, and so I think some of it is, you know, the changing climate. We are, you know, it's getting hotter, and more into the mid-south, more conditions like the tropics where this disease comes from, and so I think that might have something to do with it, or it could just be production practices or hybrid choice. I mean, there's a variety of factors that could influence it.
Talk about, I guess, how we control it. You're doing some work. What about fungicides?
Well, at this point in time in the U.S., there are no fungicides that are labeled for control of Diplodia leaf streak. So that does sort of hamper our ability to control it in season. But we are working with some companies to try to understand hybrid resistance and what production practices might influence. And really, we're just trying to understand the fungus that causes the disease, and really, we don't have a lot of information, so we're just trying to create awareness about it, make sure we're not misidentifying it as northern corn leaf blight, so we're not using management techniques that may be ineffective against this particular disease.
Right. Kirsten, any, I mean, based on the movement sort of pattern, when should Ontario farmers be?
Well, I hope it's not a concern, but I can't say never, right? So we've seen it sort of progress a little bit more each year, and so, you know, a few years it's spread a good bit across the southern U.S. So.
Well, we hope it stays put.
That's right.
Thank you for coming up to Canada, up to Ontario, and sharing that insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you.